Hello friends, welcome back to our course Mechanics of Solid. Last class we discussed about the mechanics difference between pressure and stress. Then we discussed type of stress type and Shannon principle. Then type of strain and strain. Poisson ratio all we have already completed in class 1. This is our lecture number 2 and here we are going to discuss Hooke's law, stress strain curve, true stress and true strain, Young's modulus, modulus of AT, bulk modulus. Okay. So first Hooke's law. Hooke's law states that when a material is loaded within proportional limit, the stress is proportional to the strain produced by the stress. Okay. This means the ratio of stress corresponding to strain is constant within proportional limit. In some book, you may get in place of proportional limit, they are writing up to elastic limit. Okay. Why they are writing up to elastic limit? Because they are considering proportional limit and elastic limit are very close to each other. The constant here, the ratio of stress to strain is constant, and that constant is known as modulus of elasticity or modulus of AT or bulk modulus, like that. Okay. So we will discuss how they are different in simply elastic model, you can say. Look here, this is stress strain curve for simple mild steel. Okay. Initially, when we apply here, both are started at the 0 point. Stress and strain both are started at point 0. Okay. When we apply the load up to some limit, stress is directly proportional to the strain. Both will be linear, and that will be proportional limit. Okay. After proportional limit you can say point A equal to proportional limit, then here point A, then point B, then point C. Point B will be elastic limit point. Okay. Then point C is yield point. Okay. So here up to proportional limit, stress is proportional to strain, and that is saying by the Hooke's law. After proportional limit, there is another point, that is elastic limit. What is elastic limit? Elastic limit means when we are applying the load, body will deform, and when we remove the load, body will regain its original shape. That is elastic point. Okay. Up to elastic point, body can regain fully its original shape. After elastic limit, that will become to the plastic region. Up to elastic limit, we can say elastic region. Up to that, body can regain its original shape. After that, if you apply after elastic limit, if you are applying some load, body cannot be regain its original shape, and that will be start plastic region. Okay. So up to elastic yield point, stress will be increased with strain. Then suddenly strain will be increased, but stress will be decreased. So why this type occur? This is because when we see the material, many iron atom Fe in mild steel, let's suppose Fe like that, many atom is there. In between some carbon atom will be also there. Okay. In between some places, not up to that. So you can say this is carbon atom and this is iron atom Fe. When we are applying up to some limit, up to yield point, we are applying some load, that will be take care by the both load. At yield point, the bonding between carbon atom and iron atom will be break. After breaking the carbon bonding between carbon and Fe atom, the cloud of carbon will be break. So after breaking that one, we no need to apply that much amount of load. This carbon atom will be free to move. Due to that, elongation will be occur, but stress will be not increase. That will be decreased because now carbon atom is free to move. Up to some limit, strain will be increased. After that, once again, when we increase the strain, stress will be increased, and that is known as strain hardening. Up to some limit, stress will be increased with strain, and this will be reach the maximum point where stress is maximum. and at that point stress is known as ultimate stress, and same thing also known as ultimate strength. Maximum stress is known as ultimate strength. Similar to that, stress at the yield point is known as yield strength. Yield strength means maximum stress at yield point. Ultimate strength means maximum stress body can resist. After that, here stress is once again decreasing with higher amount of strength. Why? Here this reach the ultimate strength, then it decreasing. But actually what is happening here, when we apply the load, let's suppose there is one body and we are applying some load. After ultimate stress, body will make this type shape. So here cross section area will be decreased in a particular area. Here in a particular area cross section will be decreased. Due to that, whatever we are calculating, stress is less. Okay, and this zone is known as necking. This is known as necking up to fracture. After some time, material will fail, fully break. That is fracture point. Here point O, A, B, C. Here D, E, F. Point D is lower yield point. Lower yield point. Point E will be ultimate strength. Ultimate strength. Point F will be fracture point. Okay, like that. So here we are getting this type curve, and this curve is known as engineering stress strain curve. So here this is known as engineering stress strain curve. Okay, this one. But actually the area is decreasing. Due to that, and according to formula, stress equal to, we know that stress equal to force divided by area. Here area is decreasing. Due to that, stress will be also increased. Okay, and actual fracture point will be this one. Actual fracture point. This is due to engineering fracture point, and this is actual true fracture point. Stress is this much, not this one. Okay, and how we are getting this curve? We are getting this curve by taking actual area at that particular time. This curve we got using initial area, sigma equal to load divided by A0, initial area, and this is with respect to actual area. Okay, so here this is completed. Important point is proportional limit, and this is elastic zone, elastic region, then plastic region. So here, and point you should remember: proportional limit point A, elastic limit point B, upper yield point C, lower yield point D, ultimate stress point E. Also type A, B, C, D, E, and F. This will be F dash. Here we written same thing. What is that? You can read this one. Okay. Now, what is elastic modulus? There are different type elastic moduli, different type elastic constant. First one is Young modulus, also known as modulus of elasticity, that we got using Hooke's law, and that is equal to stress by strain. Sigma equal to E epsilon. So E equal to sigma by epsilon. Simple formula. Same thing. For tensile strain we should use. In case of compression, compressive stress and compressive strain we should use. Okay. Next one is modulus of rigidity, also known as shear modulus of elasticity, and this is written by CGN. Okay. And what is this? This is ratio of shear stress to corresponding shear strain within elastic limit, or you can say within proportional limit. Okay. Some books are following elastic limit, some are plastic limit. That is not a problem. This first one, this second one, this is third one. Third one is bulk modulus, also known as volume modulus of elasticity, and written by K. And what is this? when a body is subjected to three mutual perpendicular stresses of equal intensity, okay, both side stress is same value not changing in all three phases, stress is same. You can say if that is a spherical, stress will be same in all direction. If that is a sphere, stress will be same in all direction. That time bulk modulus equal to direct stress sigma divided by volumetric strain, change in volume divided by actual volume, okay. And these are our formula, and there are some relationship between all these three constants. First one is this one, you should remember this one. Young modulus E equal to 9 kg divided by 3k plus g. Simply you can remember, in simply what you are saying, 9 kg. You are saying no 9 kg weight, 10 kg weight, like that. So remember 9 kg divided by 3 kg. Then insert here plus. Simply you remember 9 kg divided by 3 kg. 9 kg is bigger, so we are keeping 9 upside, 3 lower, keeping lower side. Like that you can remember, okay. 9 kg divided by 3 kg. So you can easily remember. Then in between relationship between E and G, here is Poisson's ratio. E equal to 3k 1 minus 2 mu. Here how you can remember this one, these two? Most of the students become confused in between these two. How? Look here, 2g 1 plus mu. Here we are using 3k, so this is only to remember, okay. This is not a scientific reason. E equal to 3k 1 minus 2 mu, okay. Using 3k, so we are keeping minus, 2 is smaller, keeping plus, like that you can remember. That is up to you, okay. But this is one idea by which you can remember. Next one, simple stress and strain relationship between stress and strain. There is different type relation, 1D, 2D, 3D, okay. First one for 1D. For 1D, whatever we got using Hooke's law, E equal to sigma by epsilon, or you can say strain E equal epsilon equal to sigma by E. Simple, using Hooke's law for one dimension. For two dimensional, we know that in Poisson's ratio, when we are applying load in one direction, second direction, there may be reduction in area. If one side increasing length, second side area length will be decreased. So same concept we use here. The stress sigma 1 will be produced strain in direction of x and also in direction of y. In x direction, longitudinal strain equal to sigma 1 by E. In second direction, y direction, lateral strain will be equal to minus mu sigma 1 by E. Okay. Here this is negative, this is positive. Similar to that, due to stress sigma 2, in y direction that will be sigma 2 by E. In x direction that will be lateral strain equal to minus mu sigma 2 by E. So total strain in x direction is, let's suppose this one and this one. So E1 in x direction will be due to sigma 1 by E, due to sigma 2 minus mu sigma 2 by E. So strain in x direction equal to sigma 1 by E minus mu sigma 2 by E. If sigma 1 and sigma 2 both are equal, that time you can write sigma by E 1 minus mu in direction to sigma 2 by E minus mu sigma 1 by E. Okay. In case of three dimensional, sigma 1 in x direction, sigma 2 y direction, sigma 3 in z direction. That time, due to sigma 1, linear strain in x direction and lateral strain in y and z direction will be produced. So due to sigma 1, linear strain in x direction will be epsilon 1 equal to sigma 1 by E. From Hooke's law, we know that due to stress sigma 1, the lateral strain in y and z direction will be epsilon 1 to epsilon 1 3. Here, this one, first one is, first digit I is, you can say E I J. Here, I is plane, J is direction. This is simple method to denote E I J plane direction. In y and z direction both will be equal to minus mu sigma 1 by E. Similar to that, due to sigma 2, in y direction sigma 2 by E, in z and x direction minus mu sigma 2 by E, and similar for third case sigma 3 by E in z direction, x and y direction will be minus mu sigma 3 by E. Okay, now from all the three stress sigma 1, sigma 2 and sigma 3, now due to all these three stress sigma 1, sigma 2 and sigma 3, total strain in x direction will be sigma 1 by E minus mu sigma 2 by E minus mu sigma 3 by E. Okay, this is x direction. In y direction, in z direction we got. Okay, so volumetric strain, how we can find out volumetric strain? Epsilon V equal to epsilon 1, epsilon 2 plus epsilon 3. If you add all these three here, we are getting 1 by E. If Young model is same in all direction. Okay, this is for isotropic material. If material is not isotropic, this formula will be something different. EV volumetric strain equal to, if sigma 1 equal to sigma 2 equal to sigma 3, then formula will be look like this. Next one, factor of safety. Factor of safety equal to ultimate load divided by allowable load. In term of load, if you are saying in term of stress, is ultimate stress divided by allowable stress. These two are for brittle material we can use. Okay, or in case of steel or elastic material, we should use yield stress divided by working stress. Okay, yield stress divided by working stress equal to factor of safety. In next class we will solve some numerical problem. Thank you for this. Now like and subscribe to get next class notification.